Pregame.com.
Sunday, NFL action. Washington Redskins at the Miami Dolphins. Unless you live in Washington or Miami, I really doubt that you're going to be watching this game. But there's still going to be a point spread winner in this game, and that's what we're all about, finding point spread winners. And I think there's value in this game. I'm joined by Stephen Nova. I'm Marco D'Angelo. Stephen, let's face it, this is not the marquee matchup of Sunday. I mean, there's a lot of games on the card. This isn't at the top of the heap.
I think they're not even going to watch this game in South Florida. They got other things to do there. Miami is 4-point favorite. I think you always got to look dog here when you're seeing a total of 37 and a 4-point point spread. But Miami, 4-point favorite. You know what they are in their last 13 home games? 1-12. 2-11 against the spread. So you know Washington has to be really bad for Miami to be this kind of favorite. But Washington with John Beck at quarterback is really bad. Since their bye, the Redskins have played 4 times. They're 0-4, Marco. They're averaging 11 points. I've never seen a more scared quarterback than this John Beck. He doesn't even look downfield. Won't even throw a downfield pass. It's dump-offs, or if Fred Davis isn't there, that's it.
Well, you're not painting a pretty picture for what I'm going to come with here, but I got to take Washington, and I think the value is with
I don't blame you. No, I don't blame you, but
you know,
it's hard
I will
to make
say
a case,
this,
though, but
it is hard to make a case, and what's even harder is to say, I actually miss Rex Grossman. I don't think I've ever uttered those words in my life.
But he throws downfield. He'll take shots.
Yeah, you know, but Mike Shanahan is hell-bent on John Beck for some reason.
No, Mike Shanahan's an egotist, a stubborn egotist who I think has been a disaster with the Redskins. I think he's one of the most overrated head coaches of all time. What has he done? He was propped up by John Elway at Denver. He's never won a playoff game, I believe, since Elway retired.
Right.
He's come to Washington, supposed to be this offensive guru, Mike Shanahan. 24 games with Washington. Do you want to know the percentage of games, of these 24 games, that the Redskins under Mike Shanahan have failed to break the 20-point barrier, have scored less than 20 points, 66% of the time with the Redskins?
No, not promising, but sometimes your play is not on a team, it's against a team. And in this instance, I'm going to go against the Miami Dolphins. And here's why. Let's face it. You know it. I know it. The coach knows it. He isn't going to be there next year. Let's face it. Miami got the monkey off their back. They got that win, so they're not going to be a winless team. Nobody wants to be winless. Although Miami, if there's ever a team that really needed the Andrew Luck draft choice, the Miami Dolphins haven't had a quarterback since Dan Marino.
True. I think they've been through like 16 quarterbacks, something like that.
You know, and I mean, it's not fair to say, you know, to compare anybody to Dan Marino because he's a Hall of Famer, but they haven't even had a semi-decent quarterback.
Well, things are bad when Jay Fiedler maybe was their best.
You know, so this is a situation they need Andrew Luck. Are they going to take a dive for him? No, but this team, they were driving, trying to get that win. They had a couple games that they let slip away where they should have had wins. The Denver game in point. You know, they had their win up 15-0 in the fourth quarter, and Tebow pulled his magic and pulled that game out. Then they had the Giants on the ropes and let the Giants slip away. They finally got the win last week. Now I think this team can relax, and I think they're going to mail the season in, really. I think Washington is going to be able to go into Miami. Miami doesn't play well at home, as you alluded to. I just can't justify, I don't care how bad Washington's playing right now, I can't justify Miami as a 4-point favorite to anybody. And really, let's look at who, Washington's played. They played San Francisco last week. San Francisco, it's surprised to me how good they're playing. They're a solid football team. They're playing great fundamental football under Jim Harbaugh. Before that, They went into Buffalo. Buffalo was everybody's, darling this year because of what they did at the beginning of the season and beat New England. Now all of a sudden maybe that New England win doesn't look as impressive as it is now because New England's lost 2 in a row the last 2 weeks. But they played Philadelphia, that we know Philly's got problems, but Philly can score. Philly, ended up self-destructing in that game. I think Washington is not as good as we thought they were at the beginning of the season. They were overrated. But I don't think Washington is as bad as we think they are right now.
Well, there's an important injury to keep track of in this game, Marco. Their left tackle, Trent Williams, he may be finally back to being 100%, and he's a key to their offensive line. He's been out, and that could really set them up. Miami is weak versus the pass. Can Washington pass, though? They're a little harder to run against, but boy, they're very susceptible, very vulnerable against the pass. I just can't understand why Shanahan sticks with his John Beck. And Miami has some history with Beck. They know how bad he is. Yeah. As bad as they need a quarterback. They got rid of this guy.
Yeah. This has to be one, unless, Shanahan's totally lost it. This has to be one of those guys that is great in practice in just...
I think Shanahan's totally lost it. I would go with that theory. That's
Well, either way, we're going to go with Washington. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think points are going to be at a premium. I'm going to take Washington to scratch out a 20-16 win. That's my free pick here. We're going to go with Washington. Any closing thoughts from you?
No, Marco. I can definitely see the logic. I am not going to get involved with this game. If I did, if the gun was pointed to my head, I would take the dog with the points. 2 bad teams. Washington's defense remains respectable. They have some good pass rushers. Dolphins are on pace to give up the most sacks in franchise history. So, if Washington can get somehow 13 to 16 points, it might be enough to cover.
Well, there you go. Guys, we've done something new the last couple weeks, and we want you to carry on the conversation. Go into the forums. In the thread, we've got a mega thread with all of the videos that we do this week. Not only the ones Steven and myself do, but Vegas Runner, Brian Leonard, RJ Bell. We've got all the videos for the week. We'll have our comments. Steven will be in there talking. He'll post his notes. I'll post my notes. Ask us a question. We're there. We'll be visiting the thread all weekend, answer questions for you. Tell us what you like or tell us your opinion on the game. Check it out. It's the mega thread for all of the videos. And that wraps up this one. Steven, we're going to do one more video. We keep getting these premier games on the NFL card. Denver, Kansas City. Everybody loves Tebow. So as long as we got Tebow, we're going to have a fan. We're going to have an audience. Let's face it. Most loved guy in the NFL. We'll be right back. Kansas City, Denver's up next.